If you think that you or someone you know might be struggling with an eating disorder, I'm hoping that this video might be helpful. These are 5 common signs that you might have an eating disorder. Labeling food as good or bad. It usually starts off simple. Carrots are good, candy is bad. But it quickly turns into something entirely different. And when you start excluding entire food groups, it's usually turned into a problem. Excluding entire food groups lead to a less varied diet and in turn, usually nutrient deficiency. And it's pretty boring to have such a restricted diet. And anyone who's ever been on a diet would know this. But for example, I don't eat bread, pasta, rice, sugars, fruit juice, starch, or processed foods on a regular basis. And if I do eat any of these things, my body basically shuts down, or my metabolism basically shuts down, because my body is not used to these foods anymore. If I eat any of these foods, I actually get physically ill. And I'm not talking like if I have one potato or a bag of chips, but if I eat larger amounts of these kind of foods, I get stomach aches. My metabolism shuts down. It gets like a shock, and it just stops working. So I obviously get constipated, and that hurts too. It's just so annoying to have to think about what I'm eating. Like, do you know how much stuff there is sugar in? This is me labeling food as bad. Hoarding large amounts of food. So I don't remember if my parents didn't allow me to eat, sugars or candy or whatever when I was younger, but every time I would get my hands on anything remotely unhealthy, I would just put it under my bed. I have this big drawer underneath my bed, and I would put everything that I wasn't technically allowed to eat under my bed. And I would eat something from that drawer like every day. So I was addicted to sugar, to say the least, and I wasn't eating that healthily overall because I'm a really picky eater, and I was extremely picky as a child. And yeah, so I was basically eating like chicken nuggets and chips. That was my diet. I feel bad for my parents, honestly. Hoarding food doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be overweight. Like, a person that eats in secrecy or hoards food doesn't have to be overweight. It's a common misconception, and I was really skinny and underweight, and I was hoarding food. So hoarding food at any age or weight can be a sign. Binging. Uncontrolled eating of large amounts of food, usually with a feeling of self-hatred, shame, or guilt after it. This is not the same thing as having cheat days occasionally as sort of a treat for, being good on a new diet or eating healthy or working out every day. Cheat days is a treat. Binging is uncontrolled and usually not something you do because you want to treat yourself. And like I said, it's uncontrolled and something people usually try to hide to others. So it's hard to know if someone is binging. It is usually just that person that knows. Compulsively exercising. This is an interesting sign because someone that exercises every day and, is fit and healthy and, maybe a bodybuilder or something like that, someone who exercises regularly doesn't necessarily have an eating disorder, but compulsively exercising is when it's out of your control. Okay, when you feel like you have to exercise or you don't deserve to eat, or you have to exercise and you don't even eat when you're exercising. And this can lead to a rapid weight loss, and it can make you feel like you're doing something good for your body, because if you're overweight and then start compulsively exercising and not eating enough, then you know you will lose weight, and you might think that what you're doing is healthy. But shaming yourself for eating when not exercising, or not exercising at all, is not a good thing. Because if you keep doing this, for example, if you are extremely overweight and do this, you could die. Because your body, if you're not eating, your body doesn't have the capacity to keep your heart pumping, and you might just collapse and die. So trying to keep it moderate is always key, because these things can get out of hand really quickly, and it's dangerous if it does. Counting calories or overcounting, especially overcounting, I would say. So many people count calories. This is usually something you do when you start getting into health and fitness and whatever. And counting calories isn't bad by itself. If you are obese or overweight, counting calories can make you have a bigger understanding of how much you actually are consuming. But if you are counting calories to make sure you're restricting, it can quickly turn toxic, okay? It can quickly turn on you, and only you can know what's going on in your mind. But if you can't stop counting, then that might be a sign. If you're sitting at the dinner table and you have a plate of food in front of you and you're eating, and then you start thinking about how many calories you've consumed that day, you start to think that you don't know how many calories exactly are in the food that you are eating at the moment, and you just can't stop thinking about it. So you take another bite and swallow an unknown amount of calories. So eventually you have to excuse yourself and go digging in the trash for the packaging so you can know exactly how many calories you've consumed. You don't even like math, but calculating makes you feel a kind of relief, as long as it's under your calorie intake limit. Because if you've overeaten, you feel nauseous and you will not take another bite no matter how hungry you are. Overcounting basically means that you count way too many calories. You might think that a carrot is 500 calories, and then you might think that a handful of chips is 1,000 calories, and then you might start thinking that, a bowl of soup is 3,000 calories, and oh my gosh, you cannot eat 3,000 calories, you have to restrict yourself. This also quickly gets out of hand, and soon you're eating like half a banana because you think the banana is 3,000 calories and you only want to eat like 1,500. Not even. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, please give me a big like and subscribe to my channel, and I love you guys so much. Bye.